Social media lacks so much education on actual real things, but the real things they do talk about are just based on materialistics. We don't have real conversations about how to have a healthy relationship. All we just say is boys are trash. Okay, how can we get around it? How can we train men to not be trash? How can we train women not to go for trash men? We are not doing anything practical. We're just talking rubbish. We're not actually doing anything that's going to sustain our generation, and we wonder why everyone just breaks up with each other. We don't have sustainable relationships because we don't teach them sustainable things. You know, there are people like me that do try to do that and do try to show you the real stuff that goes on and how to deal with it, but on a wider scheme of things there is nothing of the sort, and I feel like we're just using our platform so wrong that these kids just grow up so confused. Like, we're not teaching children how to have these good relationships. We're not teaching children about the standards they should have in relationships, about the morals, about how to love yourself before you love someone else. Like, there's nothing about that, but yet there's so much about buying your girlfriend a massive teddy bear and suddenly that's like a great thing. No wonder why everyone has such poor mental health, because no one's being taught how to have a sustainable life, how to have sustainable relationships, how to feel good within themselves. We talk about self-love, but it's not really self-love. We say the word self-love and then self-love pages will be like, oh my gosh, like, paint your nails, self-love. Okay, thank you for that. I'm not saying those things don't matter, like treat yourself and whatever, but it, as I said, it's just such fickle and material things that aren't going to sustain us for the long run. And society is unstable as it is. We're not like the 50s where everyone just gets married and has kids and the wife stays at home and the husband goes to work. I'm not saying that's how life should be, by the way, but the point is there was actual stability. Like, you just knew that life was going to go that way. But now we have different family dynamics, now we have different relationships, now we just have so much instability. Like, this is my sociology talking. We've obviously grown for the better in a lot of aspects, but growing and more diversity increases instability. Like, that's a fact. Obviously I wouldn't want to be living in the 50s and staying at home. Who do you think I am? Like, sorry. But the point is that now we're in such an unstable world, we need to try and teach stability somehow in other ways. We're not doing that. We're keeping the instability there by what we're putting out on social media. Our society is based on instant gratification, and I'm going to talk about that later, but we just focus on the now and we don't focus on how that's going to impact us in the future, but we'll talk about that later. Okay, the second thing is questionable behavior is being accepted a lot more now, and by that I mean a lot of misogyny. I talked about this in a video on how misogyny is like off the chains in, you know, rap music and hip hop and whatever, and it's actually come into our societies and boys are starting to actually do it on a practical level. We are going backwards, people. Do you not see it? This behavior has become praised in a way. Like, rappers get praised for their music and their lyrics. I'm not saying that we shouldn't listen to them, but then again, when I think about it, we low-key shouldn't, because some of the things they say is just mind-blowing. And you think that music and what you listen to and what you watch doesn't go inside of you, you're very wrong, because you might not realize it, but subconsciously it's affecting you internally, and that's what this whole video is about. You are surrounding yourself by such negative things, and then you wonder why you feel the way you feel, you know? Boys listen to a certain rapper and idolize him and whatever. Next minute they're saying that women are only good for cleaning and women are only objects and women are only good for sex. We say things so casually now and we think that it doesn't have repercussions. Obviously we talk about repercussions on, like, don't post bad things on social media because it will come back in the long run and then it will ruin your jobs. We don't talk about how it's going to ruin your soul. Yeah, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about how it's going to ruin your relationships. We don't talk about how it's going to ruin our self-worth. We don't talk about how it's going to ruin the way we view the world. We just talk about it's going to ruin your job. We don't talk about how it's going to ruin us from the inside, which only comes out and only then destructs more things. It's honestly a catalyst for all the bad things that are set up to happen in your life if you continue to have that bad attitude. And this generation doesn't get that around their head to think that there are actually long-term consequences. All we do is think in the present, and that is not going to come back up in the future. If you're constantly being misogynistic, it's going to turn into you having a really poor relationship with your wife or your girlfriend. You're just going to see them as a dishwasher, and that's not okay. Like, you make jokes about it, but it's not a joke. Like, it's going to end up internalizing inside of you, and it's going to become you, and it's going to be how you treat people. People don't realize how powerful words are at all. We don't understand the way we talk and the attitude we have, even though we're putting on a persona just to seem cool, it actually ends up seeping inside to our soul, and then we become that person. You can't just think, oh, this is for fun. Okay, but is it fun when your whole life is coming crashing down when you're only 30? Like, right now you might be all, 18 having fun, but when you're in your late 20s, early 30s, and you want to actually get serious in your life, it can't happen because your brain has been brainwashed. Think about all these rappers. You idolize these rappers, right? They cannot keep a girl. They treat a girl like trash. They don't have a stable life apart from the fact that they're rich. If that's what you want, sure, I'll go for it. But there is a lot more to life than being rich. We are so money focused in this society, especially boys, especially black boys. They look at these big rappers who are wearing the big chains, the big watches, driving the big cars, wearing the latest clothes, having the big house with the pool, but they don't actually think about, is that person stable in a relationship? Does that person have a actual stable life and stable view of themselves from the inside? Because I can guarantee you they have some conflict going on in them too, and you want to follow them. Make that make sense. Life isn't money, life isn't luxury, life is love. You have to have love, and you have to have stability, and you have to have respect. You have to have those actual solid things to then get to the money. If you don't have the stuff down here, guess what? It's gonna crumble. There are a lot of people who have loads of money in the world, millionaires, but they're not happy. My money does not define me. Money is nice, I'm not saying that it's not, but love is such a sustainable thing that you can't buy. People start putting money before people, and then they don't actually have anything for the long run. I just wish people saw that, and I wish people understood that the life that is being paraded on social media is not the life that you want if you don't have the morals and the foundation to back it up. I want to be successful, I want to be financially stable, but my dreams for myself are a lot bigger than what money can buy and what success can buy. People only talk about material success. People don't talk about soul success. People don't talk about relationship success. People just talk about what other people can see. Why are you so focused on what other people can see? Why don't you just focus on what you yourself craves? I don't care what anyone says. We were made as human beings to have human connection. But yet, this society is so distant from that. We make fun of people that are affectionate. We make fun of people that have long-term relationships. We make fun of people for actually wanting a companionship, and we try to act hard. We try to act bad. We try to act like we don't need anyone but ourselves. But guess what you do? And you need companions to get through this life. Don't think that you can go through life with that arrogant, ignorant, I don't need anyone kind of attitude. Guess what? It's going to come back and it's going to bite you in the butt, and then you're going to think, why don't I have like solid friends? Why aren't I married? Why don't girls want to spend time with me other than when we have sex? Think about that. You are not going to create a good relationship with yourself if you are so money focused, if you're so money motivated, if you're so materialistic based, because these relationship goals is what I was talking about. As I said, they're materialistic. They forget that you need a bond. They forget that you need chemistry. They forget that you need respect, love, attention, all of that. We are so distant from that, and it's seen as uncool now, especially in, my age and people that I know. Talking about boys and talking about love is like, ew. Okay, you're saying that because it looks good to other people, but you secretly do crave it. Stop trying to run away from it, because it's going to bite you later. And as I said, we live in the moment and we don't realize how it's going to affect us in the long run, because you're going to get in such a vicious cycle of I don't need anyone to make me happy, to the point where you actually want people to make you happy, but you can't do it because you haven't set your life up like that. Your brain has been wired to not do that, and you're going to end up pushing people away. So just do it now. Stop waiting for when the time is right. Set your life on foundation. Yes, you want to have fun. Yes, you want to do that, but that fun is only for now. It's not sustainable. We don't think about long-term goals and how that's going to set us up for life. Why don't we think about that? Why is society so focused on instant gratification that we don't train each other to have success in life, not in money, in life?